The Colonial Military Tribunal in Yaoundé, capital of La Republic du Cameroon, has sentenced Abdul Karim Ali to life imprisonment. This ruling follows his abduction from Bamenda 3 years ago. Popularly known as a prisoner of conscience, Abdul Karim has always been vocal about the injustices of the colonizers in Ambazonia. On the 16th of April 2025, a military tribunal in Yaoundé sentenced Abdul Karim Ali to life imprisonment. The decision was made in his absence as he had not recognized the colonial tribunal's authority. The sentencing of Abdul Karim Ali, a respected scholar, peace advocate, and political analyst to life imprisonment by La Republic du Cameroon's military tribunal on the 16th of April 2025 marks yet another dark chapter in the ongoing colonial repression of southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. This ruling, delivered in his absence, has sparked international outrage, further showcasing the systematic injustices inflicted upon Ambazonians who dare to speak truth to power. Abdul Karim's story is one of resilience, intellect, and defiance. Known for his non-violent advocacy, Abdul Karim was abducted in 2022 from Bamenda by La Republic du Cameroon forces. Without warrant, by the way, due process, or any clear charges, only for him to later appear before a military court in Yaoundé for 3 years. He has remained in unlawful detention. What has he been doing there? Enduring torture, solitary confinement, and psychological trauma, all for peacefully demanding justice and the right to self-determination for the people of Ambazonia. His case is not isolated. It is emblematic of a larger colonial playbook, silencing dissent, criminalizing identity, and suppressing the voices that calls out the daily atrocities committed in the once independent southern Cameroons. What is this for us? A pattern of illegalities. From Abdul Karim's abduction to his recent sentencing, the entire process has been marred by glaring legal and moral violation, illegal arrest, and transfer. His seizure in Bamenda was done without due process, no warrant, no charges, no transparency. How about violation of civilian rights? Trying a civilian in a military tribunal blatantly contravenes both Cameroonian domestic law and international human rights standards. Abdul Karim's affirming his Ambazonian nationality consistently rejected the legitimacy of the La Republic du Cameroon's tribunal. This, by the way, highlighted the illegality of persecuting a citizen of a foreign nation under colonial laws. This, of course, shows lack of fair trials. His legal team raised strong objections to the trial, especially in May 2024, challenging the jurisdiction of the court. These objections were ignored, and a sentence was passed without his presence. His detention at the said and now Kondengi Central Prison reflects their conditions Ambazonian detainees face, which of course is torture, overcrowding, denial of medical care, and prolonged solitary confinement. Would pause here and take a walk to what the president said in his speech. Even if Ambazonians at this point decides to surrender, what would happen to Ambazonians who are in the Kondengi prison? While you're thinking about that, looking at these patterns of illegality carried out by La Republic du Cameroon, you would agree that this report is more than a news. It is a mirror reflecting the ugly truth of colonial injustice. It documents the weaponization of law as a tool of repression by La Republic and the urgent need for international intervention. So for Ambazonians, I believe that it is a wake-up call. Abdul Karim's case should serve as a symbol of La Republic de Cameroon's fear of truth and intellectual resistance. It shows how no voice, no matter how peaceful, is safe under the current colonial setup. His life sentence is a desperate attempt by La Republic de Cameroon to extinguish the fire of revelation, but in doing so, they have only poured fuel on the flames of Ambazonians' collective struggle. If we want to move further to look at the implications of Abdul Karim's arrest for the liberation movement, you can say that the life sentence handed out to Abdul Karim's underscores yet again the illegality of La Republic de Cameroon's claim over the people of southern Cameroons. And so, by prosecuting a civilian in a military court, he does not recognize the regime not only violated international legal norms, but also affirmed the very basis of the Ambazonian liberation cause. That Ambazonia is a separate nation under occupation. And so this ruling also intensifies the urgency for international advocacy. And so the silence or slow response of the global world is often interpreted by the regime in Yaoundé as a green light to continue its campaign of repression. As such, there is a growing call for the world actors, the UN, to move beyond statements of concerns and towards concrete diplomatic, legal, and humanitarian intervention within the Ambazonian movement itself. Abdul Karim's case presents both a challenge and an opportunity. It challenges legal practitioners, human rights offenders, and political representatives to rise to the occasion and coordinate a more forceful, legal, and diplomatic response. His sentencing lays bare the need to document these violations systematically and build the case for international legal action. Moreover, the movement provides an opening to intensify pressure on the colonial regime through renewed calls for sanction, United Nations inquiries, and referrals of La Republic to Cameroon's repeated breaches to international courts. The path to justice may be long, but each case, like Abdul Karim's, Wazizi's, builds the evidence and moral momentum required to build the regime's accountability. Abdul Karim's imprisonment is not just a punishment for one man. It is a sentence imposed on truth, freedom, and resistance. But it also, at this point, exposes the desperation of a crumbling colonial regime, the seas it grip, sleeping away. It is now up to Ambazonians and its allies of justice everywhere in the world to ensure that this injustice does not go unanswered. At this point, we have legal minds, those who are or have authorities in this field. And I really want to find out at this point what legal channels still exist to challenge Abdul Karim's sentencing. I'm not even talking about the international bodies here. At this point, what legal channels, or first of all, are there legal channels? If yes, what legal channels still exist to challenge Abdul Karim's sentencing?